lot of businesses have taken off because somebody just was in the right place at the right time with the right product. If the product is not fire, the art is fire. Whether you disagree with it or not, whether you like it or not, doesn't really matter to me. It's personal preference at the end of the day. Numbers do not lie. And when I bought this thing, it traded hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. So what are you going to say? It's magical to people. Whether you agree with it or not, or whether you resonate with it or not, it doesn't matter because other people do. And as long as other people do, I knew, okay, well, look, this is the same playbook with Von Dutch, the same playbook with Gel Blaster, the exact same playbook. Take something that resonates with people and blow it out of the fucking stratosphere. It's what I do best. When the underlying message across the board is the same. And rather than bickering with one another and fighting over things that don't matter, why don't we just push the human race forward and be one? That's just so silly to me. And I don't know how people can think otherwise, but hey, that's one of the paradigm shifts that I hope over the course of my life I can influence and I can change. And hopefully more people start thinking like me. Or if they don't, fantastic. But as long as they're not hurting people, then it doesn't matter to me either which way.
I feel like, as I'm hearing you, talk about these things, one of the things that I feel like is pretty apparent to me that you care a lot about people. But you also, it seems like you care quite a bit about building relationships with people. I mean, obviously there's massive benefit to that in business. What are your thoughts about like building like personal relationships and business relationships? Do you think it's something that people should focus on if they're trying to build a business or become better? Like what are the thoughts around who you surround yourself by?
90% of my money has been made by relationships. If I look back at every dollar I've made, 10% of it was made by my fingers and my computer making things happen. And the other 90% was built by relationships, whether that was a relationship of somebody telling me to buy something before it popped off, or somebody, helping run the business, or bridging a huge partnership that made me millions of dollars. It all starts with relationships, and I will always value EQ over IQ. And for those of you guys who don't know, your intelligence is measured in two ways: your IQ, which is your intellectual intelligence, right? Like what your brain capacity is, and you can take tests for that. And one that is a little bit harder to measure, which is your EQ, which is basically your emotional quotient, how you interact with people and how you build relationships. And I've seen a lot of people with bird brain level IQ make tens of millions of dollars because their EQ is so high. And I'm one of those. Now, I don't have bird brain level IQ, but I have a really high EQ. And that's where I think I've made a majority of my money. And I've quantified that in the form of 90%. And that's where I feel like I'm strong. So many opportunities, dude, that I've literally bridged because of just how I've been able to interact with people. And don't get me wrong, some of the brightest minds in the world have super low EQ and super high IQ. I think, a lot of these tech minds and a lot of these traders are up there with that. But for me, my strong suit is how I interact with people. And I will continue to leverage that. And that to me was a huge backbone of my success and will continue to be until the day I die.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that when I look back at my business career so far, a lot of what I've been able to build so far has been really based on relationships. One person connecting me to another person, a referral, or even just hearing and learning a lesson from somebody else and being able to experience it secondhand as somebody's building a business. I feel like is one of the superpowers that not a lot of people lean into. For you looking back on your career, obviously you've been in business a while, and one of the strongest suits that you have is marketing, and being able to get people to, fight for products because they love it and they hear so much about it. How do you think about trying to spark a little bit of momentum behind a product? Is there like a framework that you follow? Is there certain things that need to get integrated, like controversy or anything like that?
Yeah, I think, having a successful business that's built around the product starts with one thing and one thing only. It's product integrity. Do people want the product? And is the product good? And I think you guys will find that a lot of businesses have taken off because somebody just was in the right place at the right time with the right product. And I think that's really it. There's no crazy marketing strategy. I can tell you a playbook, and there's definitely I have a little playbook for clothes and how I go about marketing a clothing business, but the clothes is redundant if you don't have pieces that people want. I think it all stems back to product market fit. And if you have a product that people want, it will work. And if you don't, it won't. So one thing that I was really stuck on and I learned early on was stop trying to push products that people do not want. The second I touched a gel blaster, I knew this would be the biggest thing ever, right? And it made my job fairly easy. I mean, I take credit for it and I still will. But at the end of the day, if the product wasn't so good, you know what I mean? The thing would have failed. I put that in people's hands and people want to play with it because it's better than Nerf. It's better than paintball and airsoft in the respect that you're not going to completely murder yourself if you get slapped with one, you know, and it's a better mousetrap of the three. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know, Von Dutch was easy. Again, like I credit to my playbook, but at the end of the day, the designs were fire. The logo is fire. The product is fire. So at the end of the day, all I needed was my touch. So beyond anything, it's product integrity. Like people try and get so emotional and attached to certain products, and that's what crushes them. They just keep trying to beat a dead horse. It's like, dude, like the reason why I got into Pudgy is because I knew the product was so fire. They just needed some operational experience. Like you don't trade that much volume with no leadership and no utility if the product is not fire. The art is fire. Whether you disagree with it or not, whether you like it or not, it doesn't really matter to me. It's personal preference at the end of the day. Numbers do not lie, you know? And when I bought this thing, it traded hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, you know? So like, what are you going to say? Like,
that's great.
You know, like it clearly is magical to people, you know, whether you agree with it or not, or whether you resonate with it or not, it doesn't matter because other people do. And as long as other people do, I knew, okay, well, look, this is the same playbook with Von Dutch, the same playbook with Gel Blaster, the exact same playbook. Take something that resonates with people and blow it out of the fucking stratosphere. It's what I do best. So I knew coming into this, people resonated with the penguins. So blow it out the fucking water, which is what I'm going to do.
Bro, can I ask you something a little, I don't know if you can answer this or not, but when you bought that, because you just mentioned Pudgy Penguins, for example, like, you know, they've done hundreds of millions or 100 million, whatever, in ETH. You bought it for 2.5 mil. That's like, what the fuck? Fire. That's crazy. Does that, the person that you bought that from, I know who it is, but do they still get a percentage of the equity of the IP, or you bought it like fully?
100%. Completely took it off their hands. It was good for them. It was a fire sale for me. It was a great deal for me, and I basically got them out of a peculiar situation that they didn't want to be in anymore. So it was great.
Wow. Well, that's a great place to wrap it up, man. Again, this was just amazing, bro. I'm so happy to have gotten to know you like more personally. This is awesome, and I'm looking forward to continuing to nurture a relationship here. I really am.
Yeah, likewise. Other than the Scott Hilsey podcast, this is definitely my third favorite one. So
wow. That's
huge. Thank you for giving me something that I actually enjoy doing. And
fuck yeah.
I've done some other podcasts and some other interviews since the Scott Hilsey's one. And I think Arabs was pretty fun to do, but I really enjoyed this one. You guys came correct in your setup, and so it was really enjoyable.
Awesome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. Peace out, everybody.